Is the State of the Union tonight? Or was it last night?
Next month.
It's a joke I've been doing for 22 years. Hey, it's 12:05 and a good afternoon. Welcome in this Wednesday edition, February the 8th, 2023. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I'm so pleased you have made the decision to give us a moment or two of your time, whether it's during the lunch hour, the full 3 hours, or all day long on live and local information-fueled and opinion-driven news talk radio for the masses on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. It is our personal episode 275 of this gathering together, and I'm hoping that you're here until 3 o'clock and we make it as entertaining as humanly possible. Here's what I want to do. By the way, Bell K is back and behind the screens controlling the experience. We're heard loud and proud on 100,000 watts of FM power, and we're also now seen, at least, I thought.
Not so much.
Not so much, because is my camera off?
It's something to do with your camera.
Huh. Will somebody turn my camera off?
I have no idea.
You never know what those, you know what? I predict to you, this was a shenanigan engaged in by the morning show while Dan Mandis was away. That's what I would predict. Johnny B., Ken Weaver, I think Chris Hand was involved. When the boss goes away, the kids will play. I think that's what that's going to be. One way or the other, we'll get that up and running. For those of you wanting to watch us on television, I don't know why you would. We're up on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, and we will have that up as soon as humanly possible. Okay, here's what I want to do today. I don't normally ask this of you during the lunchtime hour, and certainly not this early on in the show. I really don't ask a direct call to action regarding the telephone lines outside of just the general, hey, anytime you want to talk about the subject matters that we're bringing up on the show on a day-to-day basis. I love engaging in the old school format. I call it the old school way now. It's not email. It's not text. It's not super text. It's not, the Twitter and the social media platforms. It's not doing it on chat on the video features that we have now. This is old school. It feels like writing a letter now. You can call the show directly. And here's what I want you to do. And I'm serious. Because I have a theory, and I'm going to try to test my theory out. If you did not watch the State of the Union last night, not a moment of it, and I would prefer it if you have not heard a lot about it. But I understand that that's next to impossible the morning after. If you're watching some of the talking head, syrupy alphabet soup shows in the mornings, or if you're listening, as you should, to Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis, Michael, etc. If you have not watched a moment of the State of the Union address, call me right now because I want to talk to you about something. It's not a setup. I just have a working theory that I'm going to try to test out. 615-737-9986. If you did not watch any of the State of the Union last night and you've experienced a light brush on what was discussed, but not a lot of what was discussed, I want to talk with you right now. Right now, every phone line that we have at this radio station is lit up. That is proving theory number one, that the vast majority of America doesn't watch this. The State of the Union has changed in considerable ways. One of the ways that the State of the Union has changed involves who actually watches. There was a time when the State of the Union was a time for individuals who did not pay attention to politics on a day-to-day basis to pay attention to politics. There was a time when the state, it's, what I would compare it to? Going to church on Easter or going to church at a Christmas service. Regular churchgoers see people they haven't seen in 6 months on Christmas service or during Easter service because everybody gets dressed up and they all go, even if you haven't been for the last 6 months. Similarly, back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, people who haven't been paying attention to politics over the Christmas months or even prior to, maybe you haven't really been paying attention to politics for the last year. Boy, oh boy, they pay attention to the State of the Union address. Why? Because it was the, say it with me now, only thing that was on. I have an admission for all of you. I thought of the State of the Union address in the same way when I was a kid that I thought of a Billy Graham telethon. Remember the Billy Graham Crusades? Now, as an adult, I love Billy Graham and what he stands for. Absolutely adore him. And don't get me wrong. Now I appreciate what Billy Graham attempted to do throughout his earthly life and what his son Franklin has furthered during his time on this mortal coil. But when I was a kid, I hated Billy Graham. Because Billy Graham meant that I had to spend a full hour of primetime television viewing watching Billy Graham. Because my grandmother, if Billy Graham was on, we were watching. And he was on about once a year, right? State of the Union, same deal. When the State of the Union came on, you had to watch. Why? Because all of the television channels were on it. All 3 of them. And even PBS. All 4 of them. And so you had to. I think that has changed substantially, he says with a wry smile on his face, in the last 30 years. Because there are other things to do. I'm getting inundated with the super text line. Phone is busy, but I refuse to watch that bumbling buffoon. Jason, so I didn't watch the State of the Union, but I've been listening to WTN since 5. Okay, that's fine. It's okay if you listen to analysis. My experiment will still work. I didn't watch any. It was Taco Tuesday. I'm unable to call, but I didn't watch a single second of that speech. I didn't watch that BS. Larry says, we like it because you're pretty, Matt. Oh, wait, that's probably in reference to the absence of a camera right now. I'll fiddle around with it during the break. I'll figure it out. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Because I have a belief that without watching a single moment of the State of the Union address, you can tell me what was done. You can tell me what was said. You can tell me what happened last night. All right, so we'll start off with Larry in Clarksville. Larry, thank you for calling the Matt Murphy Show. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, Matt, and you are still pretty.
Well, you're kind to say so, Larry. You didn't watch any of the State of the Union?
No, because I would have shot my darn TV with every weapon I have in my house.
Okay, so tell me, and so this is what we're going to do with every caller that I am talking to during the first segment. I want you to tell me an aspect of the speech that you believe happened without having watching it, without watching a bit of it. What do you think happened?
I think old Uncle Joe told about, 1,400 lies like he's been doing for the last 50 years. And he is trying – this was not a State of the Union speech. This was the state of, I'm going to run again. I'm going to, I am your, almighty leader. And I guarantee you the majority of the ones that did watch that crap last night or his diehard freaking Democrat loving fans that they have no real clue as to what the heck is going on. And I've done my very well best not to say a curse word.
Well, you've done well. You've done well in that regard, Larry. Thank you for the call. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So from Larry, and try not to work with me here because I have an ultimate theory that I'm working on. Try to think of different angles or different aspects of the speech that you did not hear that you can report back to me. Larry says that Joe Biden lied last night during the speech. I'll let you know what happened coming up at the end for all of you that did not watch. Fred is next in Greenbrier. Hey, Fred, how are you?
Hey, brother, how you doing today?
I'm fabulous. You didn't watch any of that speech last night, did you?
No, I'd rather have wisdom teeth pulled than to watch that idiot on TV.
All right, that said, give me your prediction. What happened? What do you predict happened?
I'd say everything is Trump's fault. The economy is just so great that we should all be bowing down at his feet because he is the greatest president in history. The inflation is Trump's fault. Police are bad, and they don't need all this money. That would be my summation of what he probably said.
Boy, oh boy, you're pretty dead on, Fred. Okay, just wait for it because I'm gonna share with you some thoughts about. I'm writing all of this down. Now, for those of us that did watch the speech, just listen in and take notes, and see how close those that didn't watch come to those of us that did. Chris is in Nashville. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, Matt. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. So you did not watch the speech last night, Chris?
I did not.
Well, then tell me what happened.
I would assume that the fantastic economy is his doing. He did us so many favors by lowering gas prices. I would assume that there's something in there about what they're going to do by getting some agenda push that's going to lock in drug prices or, stand up to the man that is going to make Democrats look like the golden child taking care of everybody's problems.
All right, I've got you. Yeah, prescription drugs, got to mention last night, Chris. Absolutely. Okay, there you go. So there's Chris, his assessment of what went down last night. I'm going through very swiftly, so I'm not trying to be rude. If I hang up on you, that is not me being rude. That's me trying to get to the next call, like Tammy in Franklin, who did not watch a moment of the speech last night. Hey, Tammy, how are you?
Hi there, Matt. I am doing well, and I love your show.
Well, thank you.
I was packing, even if I wasn't packing to go to Cancun, I still would not have watched a second of Biden. I believe everything he says is a lie. I don't like listening to him on the radio. But like Fred and Chris said, I believe that he took credit for anything, air quotes, good, which I can't imagine, what is really going in the right direction right now. And anything negative going in the wrong direction, he blamed the Republicans, of course. And, he's not responsible for the fentanyl problem, although I think he did acknowledge, from what I heard on the radio this morning, he did acknowledge we do have a fentanyl problem, but he's not the cause of it, of course, with the open border. But in a nutshell, I think the man is a disgrace, and I'm ashamed to have him as our president.
Well, there you go, Tammy. That's well spoken. By the way, when do we leave for Cancun again?
Tomorrow morning at 5:30.
Woo! Wow. Well, I didn't realize it was going to be so early. I'll get the wife, get the dogs, and we'll meet you there, okay?
Hey, listen, Lori Leggett is a good friend of mine, and I just want to let you know that I brag about you to her all the time.
Well, thank you so
She's
much,
in
Tammy.
sales.
Well,
Yeah.
I know Lori well. I just passed her down the hall on the way to the station. So absolutely, and I will relate that to her that you said hello via the airwaves. Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. Thank you. Have a great time in Cancun. It'll be a lot more fun than talking about Joe Biden's speech. So you see where we're going with this? Now, for those of us who watched, this has been pretty good so far, right? Lee is next up. Lee is in Jolton. And Lee, it's my understanding you watched not a bit of the State of the Union last night.
That is correct, sir.
Lee, tell me what happened.
I'm probably going to say that the economy is great, and he probably talked about something that we have absolutely no idea what he was talking about, but something is great in his mind, and probably that we are on the right track.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and tell you. He did. It was called junk fees. Big segment of the speech on junk fees. I'm going to include, I think that's going to fit right into what you're talking about. He brings something up that no one really realized was that much of a problem, and he makes it out to be a level 11 emergency that we have to deal with instead of spending any time talking about, I don't know, China? Very good, Lee. Thank you for the call. One or two more. Tracy's in Spring Hill. Hey, Tracy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. You probably got a better night's sleep because you didn't watch any of this speech last night, did you?
I got a better night's sleep because I spent it with my daughter. We went to a Mexican restaurant, and I had a margarita.
Oh, that's so wonderful. I should have followed your path. I really should have. Well, with that said, Tracy, tell me what Joe Biden said last night. What's your guess?
I would guess that he would stumble on his words and try to think what he was going to say to make everyone happy, and read what he was supposed to say and try to follow a script. I think he tried to convince us all that the economy is great, that jobs are great, that we're headed in the right direction, and he's given himself himself and all the Democrats a pat on the back. I think he's trying to say that the reason that we're in the spot we are is because of him, and that he's having to make up for Trump, everything Trump and his people did. I think it's basically just putting himself out there as though he's going to be the one to make America great again. And we are in the worst position we have ever been in decades because of this clown running America like it is. And I didn't watch it because anything he did say would not convince me. And anything he did say, I didn't want to hear. So it's not hard to wake up every morning and look what's happening and see where he's put us.
You know, the problem with, Tracy, all of the lies that he did tell last night, and you're dead on in your analysis, is that we go to the grocery store every day. We go to fill up our gas tanks every day. We talk to our friends and our neighbors. We see our individual bank accounts and our 401ks. And one of the biggest lies that he told last night was that the State of the Union is strong. And thank you, Tracy, for the call. The premise of what I'm trying to do is help you recognize that it means nothing. Now, we talk about it, and I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated how things have changed so much in my lifetime that a president of the United States can stand up and tell provable lies, and the media defends him because the media is in bed with him, which means they're not really the media. They're a propaganda wing of the Democrat Party. We don't need to hear lies. We don't need to hear propaganda to understand that they are lies. We need solutions. We need a strong individual to stand up and say no more from China. We need a strong leader to stand up and say no more from Putin. We need a strong leader to stand up and say, as bad as our days are, they're a hella better than any other country in the world. We need a leader that's willing to tell the truth about our national debt and our southern border and our fentanyl crisis and our energy crisis, our economic issues, our inflationary crisis. And all we heard was a pack of lies. State of the Union addresses have always been about spin. That's to be expected. The president in power delivers what he considers to be, quote, the State of the Union. He spins it to the best of his abilities to present the best of what they've been able to accomplish and to dismiss, not discuss, or temper the worst that has happened over the past year. That's to be expected. Highlight the good. Walk swiftly past the bad, if acknowledging it at all. That's not what happened last night. I don't blame Joe Biden for being Joe Biden because I don't believe Joe Biden knows where he is half the time. I don't blame these shark Democrats for being sharks. I blame the media. They will be the tip of the spear when this country turns over and goes belly up. It's 12:23 on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I'm excited to tell you about a new sponsor to the Matt Murphy Show. It's Savory Spice. If you've seen me about town, you know, based on this manly physique, that my wife knows how to cook. She's really, really good at it. And we had a spice shop in Birmingham that she loved going to, and she stopped going to that spice shop for a variety of reasons that I won't get into now. Well, now I have her a spice shop to go to. It's Savory Spice, 2 locations, one in the L&L Market on Charlotte Pike and the other's in Franklin, right in the downtown square area, and they have everything that you can imagine you would need in the kitchen. I mean, they can totally stock your kitchen and set you up. As a matter of fact, Holly went a long way in doing just that when I met with Holly, David, and the rest of the gang at Savory Spice in Franklin just about a week or so ago. And here's the deal, folks. We go to specialty butcher shops for the right cut of beef or the right cut of pork or the right cut, the right fish fillet. And then we put those junky old spices on them that we've had in the back of the cabinet for the last 6 years. Why would you do that to that delicious food? It is time to up your food game with the right spices from Savory Spice. And they have everything. As a matter of fact, I have something to tell you about saffron in the month of February. And I'm going to get the facts of this because I don't have it right in front of me. But if you go to the website, if you type in Savory Spice in the Google machine or in the DuckDuckGo, and you go to the shop in Franklin, or you go over to L&L Market at Charlotte Pike, and you tell them that Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice, do that, talk about the saffron sale, and remind them that you want to up your food game with the one and only Savory Spice.